Yo, what is going on, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome back to another locals feature match. Here we are in the fourth and final round from February 18th, where we have Swordsoul on the left. Runick Swordsoul, I might add. Not just Swordsoul, but Runick Swordsoul. A combination I never thought would see the light of day versus Spright. The same Spright player we saw in round one, making his way all the way to the fourth and final feature. We'll see if they can take the dub one more time. So we will see them lead here in in game one with a copy of Pot of Prosperity, going for 6. And yeah, I can confirm it is a Runick Swordsoul deck. And yeah, there is a copy of Runick Tip in the hand. No, I do not have the deck profile. I did not get any deck profiles from this week, but I did get 2 deck profiles for you guys from the following week. Those will be going up in the channel sometime soon. We're going to see them reveal Pot of Prosperity, a copy of Starter, Triple Tactics Thrust, Nimble Beaver, Spright Blue, and Nimble Angler. A lot of pretty good options there on the table. They will go ahead and opt for the Spright Blue, normal summoning Swap Frog. And let's hope they use, if they do use Bajinki Ahashima in this match, they do use it correctly this time. But, you know, I know the player on the right very well. I know both the players in this match, but the player on the right has been playing Spright for a long time. I think since the deck came out. They were the Swordsoul mastermind prior, so it'll be interesting how they're able to handle a deck that they played before Spright, that they played very, very well. They know all of the ins and outs. We'll see if the Runick variant can throw them off, though. We're going to see him summon out Blue, and then Jet, and then link off the Blue and the Jet into Spright. Spright will dump Angler. Angler will resolve immediately, summoning out 2 copies of Beaver. And they could go for the Ahashima play there. They'll just have to go swap bounce itself, link off both the Anglers into Ahashima, and that would then bring out both swaps going for Toad, but then on just Spright, Toad, and Ahashima. Not the greatest end board. Hopefully they don't make that mistake again. I mean, it's probably just a simple misunderstanding of what the card's summoning condition is. Because everything in Spright, for the most part, says, you know, 2 monsters with the same level/rank, or level 2, rank 2, link 2, etc. So we're going to see Gigantic summon out Swap, and please don't make Ahashima. Well, Gigantic summons out Red and then swap bounces swap, and he does it again. Oh my goodness, see goody. I need to slap this man. Alright, so they technically could have, okay, I'll give it to them. They could have ended on this field. They just would not have gotten Red out of the deck, and I don't think it really serves them a purpose to get Red out of the deck. They could have just really skipped a step, not have summoned Gigantic, right? Link, swap bounce itself. Also, a reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so we can get to 30,000 subscribers. But, you know, swap bounce itself, and you link both the Beavers into Ahashima, and you literally get exactly where we are right now. So, it happens, right? At least this board is possible the correct way this time around. I think in the first match we saw it wasn't possible with the line they were taking. So, we will see our Swordsoul player lead with a copy of Emergence. That is going to go ahead and add Swordsoul tie. You know what I find criminal almost? How Swordsoul got nothing. Absolutely nothing in the form of OTS, ulties, or foils. They didn't even get their own token. Just let that sink in for a second. They didn't even give Swordsoul their own token. They didn't even give the entire archetype that is solely based around a token. But they gave Spright an ulti Blue. They gave Cashteer ulti Fender. They gave Tearlament ulti Rhino Heart. But they could not give Swordsoul, a deck that literally deserves a veteran's discount. At this point, it feels like a token. They didn't give any ultis. No ulti Emergence. I know they got a Starlight Chi-Xiao. And Ecclesia, but I mean, come on. Come on. All right. I'll let it rest. I'll let it rest. I'm just biased because I love Swordsoul so much. But either way, we'll see him activate Runick Tip. And it looks like we did see the Spright actually go ahead and bounce back the Moyi by detaching from Swap Frog. And we'll see the Runick Tip banish one off the top of our Spright player's deck. They're going to activate, I think, Runick Destruction. And that is going to go ahead and target the set to destroy it, and then they'll banish the top 4. And we'll see if this takes the bait for a Toad negation. The set probably is Smashers. They know how important Smashers is probably going to be here, so they will use Toad to negate and set, adding back Beaver in the process. Free starter for next turn. And Tenyies would probably be pretty nice here to keep playing, and Ashina would probably go pretty hard. They would need like Tenyi plus Longyun to be able to play through the Smashers. So they will use Longyun, discarding the Moyi that was returned to the hand that I can assume that was returned to the hand by the Spright. And on resolution, they will activate Smashers as expected. So they're going to go ahead and banish blue from the graveyard. And they'll probably get rid of Ahashima here. And that will go ahead and banish the Longyun. Now leaving them with just 2 tokens, and they can only Synchro Summon. Like I said, Ashina would be really the only way out of this, or perhaps a Shathana. And since it is a Runick build, I don't know what the likelihood of them drawing those cards. I don't even know if they're playing Tenyies in here. There might be a very experimental build of Swordsoul. You know, I could see maybe using the Runick stuff to summon like the level 4 to synchro into 8 with a token in the 4. But then again, you can't. I don't know if you can do that because that's not a synchro monster. Yeah, I don't know. Also, shout out to Imperium Duelist. Link to them down in the description, as well as my discount code. We're going to see our Swordsoul player here start with Ecclesia, Starlight Ecclesia. Go for Moyi, reveal Moyi. We'll see if there's a response here from our Spright player. Looks like it will go ahead and resolve. Yeah, I don't know. It's just such a weird concept for Swordsoul. Not something I would have thought off the top of my head. You know, that's an archetype I want to mix with Swordsoul, right? The Runick cards. I don't know if that's something I would consider. So Moyi will resolve. He'll get the token and then Synchro 8 into Chixiao. And it'll be the classic Chainlink 1 Chixiao, Chainlink 2 Moyi. And we'll see what they opt to grab here. Probably Blackout. I feel like Blackout goes pretty hard here. Clear all their bodies off the field. And deny them a way to continue playing further. Okay, so they're going to do the opposite way. They're going to deck thin before they draw. I'd love to see that, actually. So they'll grab the Search of Blackout and get their draw. I see Rivalry. Double Rivalry Blackout. Yeah, that's what I seen in. And a Runick spell. So we're going to see them set 4 here. And Rivalry will put in work so long as they don't start with a Spright monster. We'll see him activate Book of Eclipse, which is essentially just going to be Book of Moon here, only trading for 1 card. Now the pressure is on. We got to get rid of this card. We give the Swordsoul deck a free card, a free Moyi draw. And they keep their body. We'll normal summon Nimble Angler, and yeah, on summon, there is a Rivalry of the Warlords. And I believe Angler is a fish monster, so yeah, no other fishes in hand, no other way to keep extending. End phase, the Book of Eclipse will flip the Chixiao face up, get a draw for turn. And building with card advantage now. And they are locked into Worms. Which is no problem for them, of course. And my theory earlier about him not playing the level 4, which I thought he would, but then I remember the restriction of the tokens. I think that was kind of confirmed by, I think I only saw 3 Huggin in the extra deck. So we'll see him activate Longyun, discard Moyi. And summon the token. Completely safe from things like Nibiru as well, too. We'll see what monster he goes into to try to apply some pressure here. Could go for Chang'e, since there is some good synergy there with Chang'e and the Runick cards. You know, if you banish cards on the opponent's deck with the Runick cards, then that does proc Chang'e, which is some cool synergy there. I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little weird. This is my 4th commentary I've done in a row, so my throat hurts a little bit. But we're going to see him go for Qixing Longyun. Burn for 12. And Nimble Angler only has 600 attack, so we're going to be able to deal a lot of damage here, dropping his opponent down to 1,700. And could very easily lose the game next turn off of just resolving both the effects of Qixing Longyun. They do not have 2,400. They need at least 2,500 life points to have a monster get banished, have a spell trap get banished. They need an out to this ASAP Rocky, or we are going to game 3. And they're going to slam down a Change of Heart on the table, which will definitely help quite a bit here. They will change Qixing Longyun to that, banishing the Change of Heart, as you might as well to use it or lose it. Looks like they're checking to see if they have any responses. No responses. They'll let that go through. But this essentially, though, has forced a monster activation. So this does make things like Talons and Thrust, which I was going to say we saw earlier. Thrust is now live. And this could lead into the out to the back row. Harpy's Feather Duster is a hell of a card. So, since their opponent does control a monster, they can add that normal spell or trap to the hand. There's Duster. Man really just said, let me search Harpy's Feather Duster. That card is insane. I still can't get over how crazy Thrust is, man. They'll slap down the Duster. And this is exactly what they needed to crawl their way out of this hole they're in. Change of Heart to force the Qixing to make the Thrust live to grab the out in the form of Duster. Pretty much the only normal spell they could have grabbed at this point to get rid of the back row. I mean, Lightning Storm would be completely out of the question because they'd have the Qixing on their field. That's going to clear the blackout, the Runick Destruction, and the 2 copies of Rivalry that were stopping him from continuing to play. Now we're going to see him normal summon red. Go into the battle phase, attack over the Qixing, and swing in with a red. And then we're going to see them go to main phase 2, link off the Qixing and the red into Spright. Spright will go ahead and dump Angler here. Angler will go ahead and summon 2 copies of Beaver. No responses from our Swordsoul player here. I think they have just 2 cards left in hand. It looks like one is Destrudo and one is a copy of Ecclesia. Okay, so I think the Runick stuff is starting to make a little bit more sense to me now that I see him playing Destrudo. That's right. No, I take back what I said earlier about Runick Swordsoul being weird. Because I remember seeing a deck profile on YouTube a few weeks back that I thought was actually really, really cool. And it was a Runick Swordsoul, and I thought to myself, if I were to play Swordsoul again, it would be with the Runick card. So I don't know. I completely forgot about the Destrudo interaction. And the Deep Sea Prima Donna, I know that they play in the extra deck as well, which you can use to summon Moyi from the deck, which is very cool. So yeah, no. I changed my mind earlier, complete 180, because I do remember seeing this somewhere else, and seeing the Destrudo in his hand brought that memory back to me there. So making a lot more sense now, because you can use the Destrudo to target Huggins and Synchro 7 to get access to things like Yazi. And you also, like I said, make Deep Sea Prima Donna, which can put back opponent's banished cards that are off your Runick spells to summon a level 4 or lower water monster from the deck. And I know what Deep Sea Prima Donna does because I used to play it in Mermail. Completely random, but still very cool. So we see him go for Gigantic. Get Carrot on field. And I think that's Gigantic on field. They're going to go ahead and negate the Runick Destruction with the Carrot, protect the back row. Which we know, I think, is Smashers. Most likely, anyways. Special Summon Ecclesia, which would normally be pretty good here. They're in kind of a rough spot. Because no matter what they do, yeah, they got to force the Sprind. They got to go battle phase to try to get over it. There's the Smashers, and they cannot chain the Ecclesia effect because it's only during main phase. And yeah, we will see Spright take it. Looked like the game ended as soon as they flipped that rivalry, but yeah, not quite. Not out of the game just yet. So we're going to see Spright take it 2-0 there. And last but not least, a big shout out goes to our current Divine level channel members who are Misfit 88 Saber, Cadillacs84, and Pony Stark. Thank you guys so much as always for your very kind and extremely generous support of this channel.